For decades, the dominant scientific view has treated the human mind as a byproduct of biology. In this model, every thought, memory, and feeling is the direct result of physical matter and electrical signals moving through chemical interactions. In 1998, neuroscientist Christoph Koch was so certain we would find the physical seat of the mind that he bet philosopher David Chalmers it would be discovered within 25 years. But in 2023, Koch admitted defeat. Decades of mapping the brain's architecture failed to pinpoint any specific physical source for subjective experience. This is known as the hard problem of consciousness. Science can explain how the brain processes data or triggers a reflex, but it cannot explain why those physical processes feel like anything on the inside. This persistent gap has led researchers in quantum physics, artificial intelligence, and neuroscience to consider a different possibility. They are beginning to ask if our basic assumption about matter and mind is exactly backward. If the brain doesn't manufacture consciousness, then experience might not be a secondary result of biology. It might be the very foundation of reality itself. At the subatomic level, physics encounters the measurement problem. In standard quantum mechanics, particles don't exist in a fixed location. Instead, they exist in a hazy wave of probability until they are observed, at which point they collapse into a single, definite state. This suggests that reality requires a witness. Physicist John Wheeler called this the participatory universe, a cosmos relying on an observer to snap its potential into existence. The Orch-Or theory proposes a biological mechanism, suggesting microtubules inside neurons host these collapse events, creating discrete moments of conscious experience. This model, developed by Nobel laureate Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff, attempts to link the human mind to the gravitational structure of the universe at its most fundamental scale. If this holds true, the universe isn't a collection of objects waiting to be seen. It is a system waiting for a mind to make it real. The brain uses a specific circuit, the default mode network, or DMN, to construct our rigid, everyday sense of self. The DMN manages self-referential thought, maintaining our consistent boundaries of reality. The Rebus model details how substances like psilocybin disrupt this. By shattering these constraints, the brain allows data to flow freely, creating a hyper-connected state of awareness. We see a similar expansion of awareness even when the brain is failing. The AWARE-2 study on cardiac arrest found that patients show markers of vivid awareness and memory, even when the brain is suffering from severe oxygen deprivation and is clinically shutting down. These findings align with filter theory, a concept championed by 19th century psychologist William James. He proposed that the brain does not generate consciousness, but rather filters and restricts it to a manageable stream for physical survival. When that filter is bypassed, as reported in studies of extended-state DMT, subjects describe moving beyond everyday boundaries into what appear to be higher dimensions and encounters with autonomous entities. Clinical studies at Johns Hopkins show that these experiences are not random hallucinations. They are highly structured and often lead to lasting psychological changes, suggesting they tap into something more significant than simple neurological noise. These moments suggest that disrupting the brain's hardware doesn't necessarily end the mind. It may simply remove the limits that usually define it. Artificial intelligence offers a different way to test these boundaries. As large language models become more capable of mimicking human conversation, they force us to confront a difficult question. Are we building a mind or just a mimic? In philosophy, researchers call this concept a P-zombie, or philosophical zombie. This system acts perfectly conscious outside, but is entirely dark inside, lacking subjective experience. Integrated information theory argues consciousness requires recurrent causality, a structure where internal states continuously loop back to influence themselves. Current AI models are fundamentally feed-forward. Information moves in a single direction, from input to output. Without these internal causal loops, IIT predicts current intelligent models have zero integrated information and are likely true zombies. This suggests that if consciousness is tied to the physical structure of a system rather than just its outputs, then human-like intelligence might not be enough to create a feeling mind. These independent fields are beginning to point toward a common center. Quantum physics relies on an observer. Psychedelic and medical studies indicate consciousness can persist even as the brain's usual filters break down. And AI research highlights a gap between high-level intelligence and inner experience. This convergence has moved panpsychism and cosmopsychism from philosophical curiosity to the center of serious research. These frameworks propose that consciousness is not an emergent fluke, but a fundamental property of everything in the universe. Physics describes what matter does, but it cannot tell us what matter is. Experience is the only thing we know with certainty that has an intrinsic nature. The next steps in this investigation are already underway, ranging from brain quantum computer interfaces to sustained DMT trials designed to map the furthest reaches of the mind. We may not live in a dead, mechanical universe. We are localized nodes in a conscious cosmos, and our individual experience is the universe's way of looking back at itself.